Hey there guys, welcome back to another awesome video, and finally we are now doing my spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine. This took longer than expected and I apologize for that due to a lot of things in between things. But anyways, let's just get right into it, and if you haven't already, this is going to be a spoiler review. This is going to be going into spoiler on things, mainly the cameos in this film, but there will be some other stuff we'll touch on. This will not be a play-by-play of things, and if you want a non-spoiler review, you can go check that out. I will have the annotation at the end of this video of my non-spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, before we do get started, I actually want to add, I unfortunately got myself spoiled before I even saw the movie back in July-ish, August-ish, because, and I didn't do this intentionally, but you know, YouTube, the internet, everyone's gotta always put thumbnails of X character and X thing in the thumbnail as I'm scrolling through YouTube, just because number one, the internet just won't shut up about the about movies and just clearly doesn't care about spoiling stuff. And I know that YouTube doesn't care about this, but I wish that like YouTube would like either ban or censor or like something with spoiler thumbnails, or at least like in a thumbnail for a YouTube video, instead of spoiling for others, maybe just put spoiler in front of the thumbnail, and then if the person wants to, then go click on said video, and if you want to get spoiled, fine, but don't spoil it in your thumbnail. That always gets me every time, and I kind of like, it is what it is, but it's just one of those things that's like, yep, that happened. But I will still admit, even though I did get spoiled by what happened, or majority of things and characters that appeared in Deadpool Wolverine, it was still pretty damn cool seeing these characters show up when I was watching this in theaters, because I mean, come on. Seeing like Wesley Snipes come back as Blade, and Jennifer Garner as Elektra, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Chris Evans as Human Torch, Daphne Keane came back as X-23/Laura, I mean, like that right there, like that trifecta right there, whatever trifecta for 5 is, that alone is pretty awesome. You can go ahead and say that this is basically cameo porn and this is fan service the movie, and you know, the saying goes, I'm a fan, so service me. But also the fact of, I feel like the fan service was actually, like, it made sense. It forwarded the story, because if you really think about it, from each appearance, it made sense. You have so many people wanted Chris Evans to return as Johnny Storm. It's cool for Marvel to let him have fun and let loose, be a version or the version of his character from 2005. He's done being Captain America. They gave him an opportunity to be Johnny Storm again. You have Wesley Snipes, who there was rumors that he was going to have, his Blade was going to have a 4th Blade movie, but that never happened, so he at least gets an opportunity to play Blade again. Same thing with Jennifer Garner. There was talks that there was going to be a sequel to Elektra many years ago. And then you have Channing Tatum as Gambit. And Channing Tatum as Gambit is definitely my favorite cameo. Out of all the cameos and out of all the things that we see in this movie. Don't get me wrong, I love Wesley, I loved how cool he looks, I love the suit for Jennifer Garner, and I love Daphne Keane. Give me more Daphne Keane, give me more Laura, give me more X-23, that's awesome, and I feel like we're gonna see definitely more of her for sure. But Channing Tatum is the cameo for sure for me, because of how long we wanted Channing Tatum to play Gambit, because there was been so many times and attempts that he wanted to play Gambit. He's wanted to play Gambit since the first X-Men movie, like the first Fox Bryan Singer X-Men movie back in like 2000 or 2002. Tried doing that didn't happen. And then he tried again in another movie, that didn't happen. Then he tried an X-Men Origins Wolverine, but unfortunately he was busy with G.I. Joe, so it went to Taylor Kitsch. So he couldn't get to play Gambit. There was even talks of him getting a movie, and then that never happened. And so many jabs of that, of him never getting his movie. And now that he has now opened the floodgates of him being Gambit, I feel like there's every corner of the universe and the multiverse for him to do things. Show up in the MCU, show up in the main timeline, maybe appear in Doctor Strange 3, perhaps appear in Secret Wars and in Doomsday, and maybe he can get his own Gambit movie happening, and maybe a Deadpool 4 appearance or whatever else John Levy and whoever else and Marvel and Disney decide to do with Channing. And I just gotta say, it's just, he just does such a great job. He was so awesome. This movie had such great action sequences, but I want to really specifically mention the details because, not that these were spoiler-ish, but I do want to at least say that the two main fight sequences we have with Deadpool and Wolverine are the best. Like, we have one with the two of them fighting to AC/DC, which I thought that was super awesome. Like, as soon as I heard that bell, I was thinking to myself, is this For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica? And then next you know, it's Hell's Bells by AC/DC. So that made me even more excited. The second sequence is in the car while Grease is playing, and I think that's more hilarious and how creative of a fight that is, with them wrapping the seatbelts around each other, trying to choke the shit out of each other. So good. And also a nice little like jab at like musicals, because there's a quick brief sequence of you hear The Greatest Showman, and I think it's like Oklahoma or whatever the other musical that Hugh Jackman was in at one point. It's perfect. It's just great. Speaking of Wolverine, there's so many variants of Wolverine that Hugh Jackman plays that's very like quick, and not quick and you'll miss it, but it's like this nice little montage from like Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. There's the John Byrne classic yellow and brown costume, and of course they had to really put the icing on the cake in that sequence by having that version of Wolverine go toe to toe, and you see the Hulk through the claws like the comic book. So cool. And you have all these different Wolverines, from Patch to even like a comic book accurate height Wolverine, where he looks like he's like 4'11" or 4'8", or however tall or however short comic book Wolverine is. And of course, Henry Cavill getting to be Wolverine is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna be surprised if Henry Cavill is going to be our like main MCU Wolverine. It's either, I think it's gonna be Henry Cavill, or I think it's gonna be Daniel Radcliffe that's gonna be like the newest or the latest Wolverine going forward with the new X-Men, because they're obviously gonna have a MCU Earth's version of the X-Men and that team and that cast. So I think my money is definitely gonna be on Cavill or Radcliffe for when we see Wolverine in the MCU's main timeline, X-Men, whatever it's gonna be called. But as much as I could just keep on geeking out about some of the stuff and how sick it was and how cool it was and how just it felt rewarding and it felt so good to see all this stuff, it really, I think this fits very perfect in the MCU, and I think this fits very perfect in Deadpool's little Deadpool bubble, because you have the first movie that had the main focus was like a revenge story and a love story. The second movie is about family and time travel. This one is dealing with redemption and the multiverse. And to wrap things up, the fact that Deadpool actually uses Logan, like the Logan Wolverine variant, his skeleton as a weapon, fighting off the TVA while listening and sings Bye 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 in the background, is become pretty iconic at this point. So creative and just so funny and so fun. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down below. What is your favorite moment from Deadpool Wolverine all spoilers. Let's all talk spoilers at this point. Mention your favorite cameo, your favorite scene, whatever it is, something specific maybe you just want to talk about that you want to get into more full detail and want to share spoilers on. Let me know down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please smash that button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to watch videos every day, every week. Make sure you ring that bell to new video every week. Share the video with your family and friends, all that good stuff and more. Leave suggestions down in the comments. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. Probably by the time this is uploaded, I'm gonna have this before I go on I'm going on a little vacation, and so I'll be back, and I may or may not have a vlog afterwards. But that all depends on the like goal for this. Maybe we'll reach like a good 20 like goal for this, or maybe a 30 like goal, and I will do a vlog for you guys and I'll upload that for you guys afterwards. And then we'll do my top 10 Hollywood Studios rides and maybe some other stuff, some other things I'll sprinkle in for the remaining of September before we get into October. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.